Hey guys, it's Catherine here from Gastric Sleeve Diaries. I'm sorry it's taken so long to do a video. I've been kind of a zombie for the last week or so, so I haven't really been up to much. But yeah, I am now day 11 post-op. Just had my meeting with my dietitian and surgeon this morning. So yeah, just wanted to come and update you guys a little bit about my hospital stay and how I'm doing and all of that. In terms of stats, I'm 5'10". My highest weight just before I started all of this was 290 pounds. Today I weighed in at the weight center at 251.6. I had the 3 weeks beforehand tried to lose weight, and then I was about 267 when I went to the weight center, so I've lost about 16 pounds or so since the day of surgery. So feeling good about that. Yeah, just kind of plugging away. So I will say, for me at least, the recovery was a lot more difficult than I had expected. I hadn't really thought it would be that bad, and I'm usually not a big baby, but I did really struggle and felt, for the first week, just totally out of it and a total zombie. So obviously everyone's different, but that was just, for me, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. That's part of the reason I haven't updated. Just felt pretty zonked. So just kind of go over what my experience was, just because I found it helpful to hear about what other people went through and what to expect when you go to hospital. So I did have my surgery at MGH in Boston. It was the first surgery of the day, so I had to be there by 5:45 in the morning. I actually went out for drinks with some friends from growing up in Boston the night before. Obviously, I had water, but that really took my mind off it. And then, yeah, you saw my videos. I was pretty nervous going into it, but the morning of, I felt pretty calm, kind of collected myself a little. So yeah, I just got checked in, and then not long after kind of wheeled away, said bye to my mom and my husband and my sister who were all there. And yeah, so I then had to wait a while outside the OR while they put in, I don't even know what they did. They did a bunch of stuff, gave me some kind of things to calm myself down, talked about the anesthesia and all of that. One thing that I thought was really cool was the first person who stayed with me was a nurse, and she said, are you nervous? And I was, saying yes, and she had me flip over her badge, and she'd actually had bariatric surgery like a few years before, so you could see her before and after, and she was saying it was the best thing she ever did, and so that really calmed me down going in. And then, yeah, I got wheeled in, and they started to put me under. The only time I panicked slightly, I remember, just as they were putting the mask on and told me to breathe, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? But I remember the surgeon actually took my hand and stroked my arm, and that was kind of the last thing I remember before going out. So then when I woke up, I was in the recovery room. I was there for about 2 hours. Apparently my surgery only took an hour and a half, and went really well. But yeah, so they got my pain under control in the recovery room, and then after about 2 hours, I was on morphine. They'd also put a catheter, IV, and heart monitors on me, and I got taken to my room, and then I could see my family. And I remember actually crying afterwards with relief that I'd actually gone through with it. I was just so relieved to actually have, done it. I did not have a drain. I know a lot of you guys do. I, for whatever reason, did not. So that Friday, the whole day, I couldn't drink anything. So my mouth was so dry. So I had a little sponge with some water that I could put in my mouth. And then the next day, the Saturday, kind of mid-morning, they took me to have a swallow test, just to make sure everything was looking okay. That was pretty nerve-wracking. I had to do kind of a clear liquid and then a slightly thicker barium thing, and I hadn't obviously swallowed anything, so I was terrified. You know, they're like, take a gulp, take another gulp. I was like, oh, but that was all fine. And then that Saturday, I could have water. The only thing I had in hospital was water. And then the next day, Sunday, I could just have water as well. I walked a ton, as much as I could. They called me Indy 500 because I just was circling and circling. But, you know, I know what you guys have all said, you know, walk, walk, walk. And I was on morphine the first couple days, and then they switched me to oxycodone, and sometimes I took Tylenol, liquid Tylenol, if I had a headache, and I was on oxycodone all of last week, once I got home. Yeah, so then they took the catheter out, and that was, they basically pumped me with liquids the entire time I was there, and then on the Saturday, so I had that probably until about 10 minutes before I was discharged, because they just wanted to keep the patients as hydrated as possible while we were in hospital. But I remember the first thing I said when I woke up in recovery is I yelled, "My pee hole hurts!" So charming. Yeah, so then went home, and I did have a breakdown in hospital the second night because my family wasn't allowed to stay after 8 p.m. and then they could arrive in the next morning by 9 a.m. And I remember waking up the second night and just crying my eyes out to one of the nurses just because I had a headache and I felt sick and I was scared and lonely. But the nursing staff were amazing. So then went home. The ride, I don't know if it, the gas in my system, it really disturbed it, but I was in a lot of pain, just feeling like there was gas everywhere inside of me. So that was pretty painful the first day, full day, and first day I was home. And basically, I don't really even remember much of that first week. I just slept and slept and slept and slept, and I think my husband got a little nervous because he was like, I mean, should you be conscious more often? Because, but I guess that's just what my body needed. When I left the hospital, I was given oxycodone on Dancitron, I think it was, for nausea. I used that for, I think, 3 days in a row. It was about day 4 or 5, it just suddenly nausea hit, so that managed to keep it under control. I'm taking a Prilosec every day for a month, and then for a month I guess I tested high for clotting risks, so I get given this little Lovenox injection every morning. So I'm also a bridesmaid in my friend's weddings in DC and Albuquerque in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so I do have to give myself a shot of those just before I go on the plane or go on the drive. Yeah, I think, one thing I'm finding really helpful with getting everything down is these little Poland Spring 8-ounce bottles. I had the big one and they just made me feel depressed that, I was struggling to get them down, and so these have been great. They stay colder for longer. And then what I'm doing this week for the first 2 weeks post-op, then after you do a day of clear liquids when you get home, I am on a full liquid diet. And so with Mass General, they have, basically you can have milk, Carnation Instant Breakfast, soy or whey protein powder, light yogurt, Greek yogurt, or diet pudding, condensed tomato soup, or a choice of protein shakes, which is Boost Glucose Control, Glucerna, Special K Protein, and Sure High Protein. So for me personally, I found I couldn't stand any of those protein shakes. Blech, gross. And the goal is to get at least, for MGH, at least 24 ounces of clear liquids in a day and at least 24 ounces of full liquids. So I've been finding yogurt, tomato soup with milk, and sometimes just milk, and with, you know, decaf tea or whatever. That's pretty much all I've been having. The other stuff, not really interested in. So I did get my diet stage 3 information today, which I'll do a video on later once I can start doing that on Friday, which I am super excited about. Watery yogurt and tomato soup is getting really old. Other things, I've noticed my breath is really gross and I have a bad taste in my mouth. That is apparently ketosis, where your body's burning fat and it just makes your mouth gross, which hydration apparently helps with. And we were told not to chew gum or have mints to help with that because the sugar alcohol can disturb your digestive tract, I guess. I did take, I felt kind of blocked up, and I did take one Colace, I think it is, stool softener type thing, and then I'd say I've pooped like every other day, or probably the last 4 days. I don't know. I think that's, I guess, normal. I don't know. I don't really want to end on that note, but I'm going to do a separate video on my hospital bag must-haves, and also I'll show you guys my incisions. So I'll just stand up to do that in a different video. But let me just check my notes. Yeah, and I'd say that probably like my pain, I have pain at my big incision, and I have had a little bit of discomfort kind of with where the new stomach is, but the main thing that hurts is that big incision, and it just feels like, you know, you did a bunch of sit-ups and you got stabbed, which you pretty much did. So sneezing really hurt the first few days, but every day is definitely getting better, and I feel human again. So I don't know. I guess some people struggle more than others, but it was a pretty hellish week, and I'm just glad I am now 11 days out, and I am feeling normal and like myself again. And on Thursday, day after tomorrow, I will be going back to work. So that is everything for now. I will do my other video in just a little bit. All right, bye.